If you ask me, it's all about drivability. Anytime you can just get in the car, turn the key, it starts, runs smooth, and you can go to a cruise night, I mean, that's what it's all about. And Ken Farrell and the crew here at Professional Products have come up with some new innovations in EFI systems. In fact, this one won some awards here at SEMA. Why don't you tell me about it?
All right, what we've been working on is a fuel injection system that's basically a carb replacement. You know, carbs have been around for a long time. I think it was 1982 since they made the last carburetor on a production vehicle. So, you know, the guys have wanted this technology, and, you know, we put together a nice little package for them. You could take this system, take a carburetor off your car, and within an afternoon have EFI and be up and running.
Hold on. I'm going to hold on right there, because we've done fuel injection swaps. We've used factory stuff, we've used aftermarket stuff, and there has never been a time when it has been in an afternoon you can drive the car.
That's true, and there is systems ourselves. It's all the progression. You know, we started off, it was a difficult learning process for a lot of the companies. You know, there's some innovators out there that started, and the kits got better and better, a little more advancement, and it basically comes down to people know what they're doing now with EFI. You know, the kits have been proven, you know, all the issues have been worked out, and...
Well, there was always just so much stuff. I mean, so many things to do, and wire and sensors and plumbing.
And that's where we changed it. We've taken, you know, a system that required a harness that looked like a bundle of snakes, and, you know, we brought it down to a small system, a couple of wire hookup, you know, power, negative, a key, and, you know, it's still a wideband closed loop system, so we've got the adaptive learning. Guys don't need to use the laptop, and kind of bunched it up in a, you know, in a good-looking system that'll go on, take the place of a carburetor.
And okay, so this is it. Now, right here, we're looking at basically a throttle body, and then this looks like a carburetor.
Well, it has the appearance of a carburetor. Guys in this business, from what I've found out and from myself, you know, we have this idea of what a hot rod should look like. And, you know, the throttle body system that we've come up with has the appearance of that classic muscle car look. But in turn, it still has the drivability and all the benefits of EFI.
So what's in the box?
I can't tell you that, but what is in the box is a state-of-the-art EFI system. It's everything that is in a factory or an aftermarket EFI system: wideband control, it's speed density, closed loop, everything that you'd expect in a performance EFI system, just scaled down. You know, with the technology we have today. I mean, you could look at what you could put into a cell phone and flat screen TVs, things you thought you couldn't do, things you couldn't do last year, you can now do.
Sure. So what you're telling me is that all the electronics are housed in this little module right here on the side of the unit.
Absolutely. Everything inside this module last year at this time fit in a box about this big. We've come up with some new processes, some new technology, shrunk it down.
Put it in the dryer?
Exactly. This thing is potted, it's good for off-road, waterproof, shock resistant. You know, it's just a real rugged piece.
Now, what I like is that we have here a fuel pump, and we got the filter and a braided line coming in, a traditional style dual feed carburetor setup, but I'm imagining your injectors are inside here instead.
Correct.
Very nice.
Yeah, so it gives that traditional look, and I think that's what the guys are after.
You'd never know.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus, you can probably connect a standard throttle linkage.
Oh, absolutely. One of the designs that's into this, you know, we're looking for that afternoon swap, and that's where we were going. We also want a guy to be able to keep, you know, an intake manifold or a correct combination for his car. In the past, and even with some of our kits, it requires replacing an intake manifold, putting in, you know, fuel rails, and sometimes those intake manifolds don't match the engine.
Sure.
Now you can build your engine the way you want it, you know, intake manifold, dual plane intake manifold over a single plane, put, you know, the combination that you want, and then put the throttle body on top of that.
Well, and you always have a lot more choices when it comes to a carburetor manifold as opposed to an EFI manifold.
Yeah,
There's
true.
just more of them out there.
Most manufacturers, there's one EFI manifold.
Right. And then it'll take your air cleaner that you had.
It's a standard air cleaner.
And it fits under the hood.
Same length, same width, same height, same linkage. All your kick downs, your overdrive cables bolt right on.
And then we have a very small harness, a couple wires coming out the back. And there's a little sign here that says, this only needs to have this wire connected, and you can turn the key, and it'll run.
What we tried to demo on this engine is how clean it'll be. There's nothing hidden here. Every wire that you need to run an engine is on this stand. So if you don't see it here, you don't need it.
And you've got a wideband O2 sensor plumbed into the exhaust.
It's a clamp-on O2 sensor. You drill a 5/8 hole in your pipe, and you can clamp it on. And if you choose to weld it, you can weld it. It's a stainless steel bung. You know, if a guy has, and most people do have the welding capabilities, they can weld it on.
Very cool. Now, so we've covered the hardware, covered the hard parts of what it is. What about tuning this thing, being able to modify a tune, get inside and program it? What are we talking about?
Well, that's the part I really like about it. We tried to make normal people, the car guys, they're familiar with jets, they're familiar with how to tune a carburetor. We've done the same thing with an EFI system. It's an adaptive learning system, so it means the wideband, it reads the feedback in the exhaust, and the wideband will make the corrections and teach the computer.
So a full closed loop system.
Yeah, full closed loop wideband, and we've added the adaptive learning process. So as you drive the car down the road, the tune dials itself in. If you want to do a major change, even a nozzle change, you want to step up to higher horsepower, you're not stuck with this system. You could swap these injectors out, you could punch in a new number in the computer, and rescale it. You're on your way back down the road.
Now, do I need the laptop to do this?
You don't need the laptop to get started, but it is there if you want to do your tuning, just like, if a guy wanted to change jets, change your air bleeds, fuel economy, lean out the mixture, it's all available to him.
Well, don't get me wrong. I mean, I fully understand that every fuel system needs to be tuned, and just the ability to be able to take it to a chassis dyno and use a laptop and dial it in is what you want to do.
We recommend letting your rear tires to be the dyno. I mean, that's the way we do it. We bolt the system on, get it up to temperature, take it out for a quick little ride, and then I always found a nice little burnout. Dials it in pretty well.
Now, what about the really tricky stuff? The startup, idle speed, cold temperature start versus warm, and all that logic.
Well, since we put this together as a complete system, it's a lot easier to dial it in than, say, company that throws in this size injector, that size throttle body. This system has been run. We've got a couple of years of tunability and drivability with this setup, so we've got it dialed in pretty well for your cold starts. And again, application to application may change, but again, a guy could go in pretty easily and change that.
And because it's this configuration with this style of air cleaner, you already know the idle airflow coming in.
Exactly.
And all the data that you would normally have to data log and tweak to.
Selling it as a complete unit really helps take the variables out of the system.
Very interesting. Well, I'm fascinated by it. It looks great. I think you did a heck of a job. And you also, I understand you guys have a new distributor that we should check out too.